Welcome back, everyone. A disturbing case is returning to the courtroom. Last year, a man pleaded guilty to the rape and brutal murder of a young woman, a 22-year-old woman from Knoxville. 3 of his alleged accomplices now are preparing for their time in court. Our chief investigative producer and journalist, John North, has covered this case extensively. John, thanks, number one, for being here. Number one, bring us up to date, and then we'll go forth with where this story is going.
You mentioned last year in May of 2025, sort of the ringleader of this horrific crime pleaded guilty. That's because he was going to face the death penalty, the threat of the death penalty if he didn't, and he figured out it would be better to get in prison for the rest of his life, which is what happened. But on this night, when he led this horrific crime against not 1, not 2, but 3 people, he recruited, authorities allege, 2 other people and then got his mother to help him as well after the fact.
And his name, Latawyne Osborne.
That's right. That's
40 years old.
That's his name, Latawyne Osborne. And what happened is that this all started because he raped this young woman, Danishka Mejia, and she realized what he had done. There's suspicion that maybe he drugged her, somehow knocked her out. She just barely knew him, sort of acquainted with him, and she'd been at his house. You could say it was a party. I don't think that's too strong a word, socializing. She was there, he was there, other people were there, I think. But she fell asleep, and when she woke up, she realized something was wrong. And she went to the police, and she went to the hospital, which confirmed that she'd been raped. As soon as she went to the police and the police started looking at him, he decided that he would essentially take her life into his hands. This is so bad. It's gotten some attention across the country because it's about as low as a human being can go to another person. He decided, well, I'll fix you, and this is already established from the plea. He recruited, as I mentioned, a couple other people, according to authorities, a fellow named Edward Wilson and another fellow named Marquise Ellis. And they went to Danishka's house in South Knoxville on Gilbert Lane. They were wearing masks, but while they were there, according to the prosecution, Osborne lowered his and then began essentially torturing her, totally intent on murdering her. And the way he did it was thus. He forced her to ingest drugs from a bag until she died, which is extraordinary and horrific. They had guns, but no, that's not what he wanted to do with her. In fact, with the gun, he wanted Danishka, to shoot at least one of the 2 other people who were there in the house with her.
And speaking, I'm going to interrupt you right
sure.
there because we talked to one of those people.
Right.
We have sound. Let's take a listen.
After he made me watch her, he made me give her CPR. It made me feel like I had failed because I couldn't bring her back. I got shot in my hand twice.
She was one of the 2 people in the house with Danishka. And
Yes.
as we heard, she was shot.
Yes. So Danishka had a friend of hers who was pregnant in the house, and also the pregnant woman's boyfriend were both in the house. And Osborne wanted Danishka to shoot one of them. And she's like, I'm not going to do that. I refuse to do that. Her family said she stuck up for her friends. She would never have done something like that. Anyway, he carried on as the accomplices watched, according to authorities. And they made jokes about, well, sure, it seems like it's taking a while for her to die, until she just finally collapsed and fell unconscious from the poisonous effects of the drugs. They shot, and we'll find out, I assume, through trial. They shot, as I mentioned, the pregnant woman, and they shot, and in the shoulder, the boyfriend fired some more shots randomly, fled the house, and took Danishka's car and drove it to Knoxville College and set it on fire. It's just horrific. And I should mention as well that Osborne, at least, recorded the rape of Danishka from a few days before, and he recorded the attack as they were attacking her, forcing her to take drugs.
That's the reason why he pleaded guilty. There was significant evidence, likely, that he in the end pleaded guilty to that. Osborne pleads guilty, but there are these other 3 suspects.
Right.
The 2 other men we saw, and the mother of Osborne. Where does that stand?
Right. So Friday morning, tomorrow morning, at least one of them, if not all of them, will be in court because we've actually got a trial coming up set for, I believe it's March the 9th. Marquise Ellis, who is the youngest of the trio of men, is facing trial. His case has been what we call severed in legal language from the other fellow's case, Wilson. They're going to be tried apart, and Ellis is supposed to go first. So we'll hear some motions about that. The defense has been trying to keep out statements that Ellis made. That's pretty common that would happen. The prosecution, Rachel Hill in this case, says he was advised of his Miranda rights. He knew all along what Knoxville police wanted to talk to him about. Nevertheless, he gave a statement. So we have to hear on what the judge's ruling is going to be in that case. Interestingly, the other fellow, Wilson, has a trial date in July. His attorney is Gregory P. Isaacs, who, as we know, is one of the best attorneys in East Tennessee. I've known Greg for decades and covered many of his cases. And Greg is seeking a change of venue. Now, what that usually means is not that let's move the trial out of Knox County, but the typical remedy is, and I don't know that it's going to happen in this case, is let's import a jury from somewhere else. Greg makes the argument that because of stories on WBIR, because of stories elsewhere, because of podcasts, I think there was a story in People magazine about this case, that it's gotten so much national attention that we need to have a panel from outside Knox County to hear the case. Again, we'll wait to hear what Judge Hector Sanchez does in that case. The state's response is, well, there was a lot of publicity, you could argue, for Osborne, the ringleader, but the other 3 defendants, not really. And then you mentioned there's that other defendant. That's Osborne's mom. And authorities allege that she helped aid and abet and try to tamper with evidence regarding Osborne's car after the crimes were committed because authorities were interested in the car itself and the role it may have played in this crime.
What are the charges, and you may have mentioned this, I apologize if you did, that they are facing?
There's a bunch. Okay. There really is a bunch. When the indictment came out, I went down to get it, and I was like, my goodness. I mean, it was 40-plus counts. That's a big, fat indictment. And, of course, you could see why the police and prosecutors alleged so many different things were happening. There were so many horrific things happening that it's more than 40. Things like murder, kidnapping, use of a gun, attempted murder. It goes on and on. It's just a whole lot. And then also, at least early in the case, the state was going to go after Osborne and another of the defendants for gang ties.
It's difficult to hear what played out. Just as us as journalists, we hear it, we have to report on it. But for a parent to have to hear this, I can't fathom. We did talk to Danishka's parents, and this is what they had to say.
You know, she would do everything she had to do to make sure people were above the fray.
She would ask her friends to help her make sandwiches, then go offer them to the homeless folks.
She always lit up the room. She was a ball of energy. Always smart, driven, very strong-minded, strong-willed. It's not easy, but you know, I talk to her every day. Oh.
And with this case continuing, with the other defendants having their days in court, it doesn't go away. It never will go away, but it just brings it back to life that much more, probably, I would assume, for those families every time someone's in court.
You know, Robin, as you were talking, you reminded me of another horrible case and what 2 families went through. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about. I do. The Christian Newsom families. It's the same sort of nightmare for them. and you had multiple defendants in that case from that double murder in January of 2007, torture, slaying. This family, Danishka's family, I have to say has been extraordinary. We have a reporter who worked with us for several years. She's left us now, Maria Guzman, who was sort of the point person and maintained relationships with the family. And my goodness, I just can't imagine trying to talk to a father and a mother when something like this has happened. But Maria did, and that family... I was in court in May of 2025, as was, I think, a cameraman and another reporter from Channel 10. I wasn't prepared. I've been doing this a long time. I wasn't prepared for the recitation of facts when Osborne pleaded guilty. And I was like, oh, my goodness, this is really bad. I knew some of it was bad. I knew that. But it's just fact after fact, sentence after sentence. And they're there too. The family is there too, and they're listening to all of this. And then they have their opportunity to get up and tell the judge what they think should happen.
You almost think these things, play out in a movie or some other book or whatever it may be, not in real life, but clearly it does. We've heard, we said, and her family, part of the family here, more family outside of the country.
That's right, in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
That's right. And they have, just like the Christians and the Newsomes, they have been here every step of the way. I mean, you can remember the Christian Newsom families. They went through, gosh, I don't know, 80 court hearings, more than that. They could tell you. This family, for Danishka, has been there all the way as well.
Let's talk about your process as a journalist, because this story goes beyond last year. That's just when Osborne pleaded guilty. This happened the year before. You have to keep up with all the different elements of this story, not just for one suspect, but for four. How do you do that?
Well, I think you just have to. I mean, I take notes. People make fun of me in the newsroom.
I wish people could see your notes right here. I wish they could.
People make fun of me, and I understand that because I get binders and I store a lot of notes and I make a lot of copies. They know me well down at the criminal court clerk's office. That's the best way I can keep it all straight. And then I try to keep tabs on everything. I went down to the court just the other day just to see where we were with this case. There will continue to be filings in it. It's a lot, but when something is this important, you want to try and stay on top of it.
Absolutely. Well, John, of course, we will be looking for your continued reporting. Thank you.
Thank you
for being with us.